Hello, and welcome back to another Tracker video. Now, recently I noticed this trend due to Red Bull landing a plane on top of a train while it was moving, of people trying to land planes on top of trains. Now, I'm a little bit late to this, probably like 2 months late to this trend, but my fault is better late than never. So I have modified my jet train on the monorail and fitted a large flat plate on top of one of the carriages, and I am going to attempt to land my small trainer jet on top of the train. So I'm using physics range extender to make this work, and I've just set off the train with mech jeb keeping its speed at 70 meters per second. I thought, as my train can go faster than the flight speed of the plane, I might as well just set it to a speed that's faster than the plane can fly. Faster than its stall speed, so that I don't have any trouble landing it. So here you can see I am taking off the plane. I am now catching up with the train, which is now going over the mouth of the river Kyle, which is the longest river on Kerbin. Very tall bridge going over that. So this is me catching up with the train. Takes me a bit of a while to catch up, but I thought I might as well show it the first time. So you can see the train there, and I sort of delay the landing a little bit, and I just end up flying alongside the train a bit, because this is actually my first ever time controlling something else while a train is moving, because I don't think I've ever used physics range extender with my monorail trains before. I've had it installed, but I never have used it in conjunction with a monorail train. So you can see I'm beginning to catch up. I turned off vessel labels so you can see the train clearly, and you can see I'm catching up with the train. What I find quite interesting is the shadows. You can see the shadow of the train and the shadow of the plane just behind it. So here I just end up flying alongside the train, because this is something I've never done before. So I go into cockpit view and look out the side as I fly alongside the train. Which I felt that was quite a nice shot. I nearly crashed into the hill there because I was too busy focusing on flying alongside the train. You know, it kind of feels a bit like doing formation flying. I've done a lot of group flights before on Flight Simulator with other YouTube channels like Flight Deck 2 Sim. It feels a lot like doing those group flights, but instead of following a plane that's flying, you're following a train that's moving along a track. Probably feels a bit more like that because of how high the track is raised in the air. So here I am about to attempt my first landing on the train. Here we go. So I'm matching up my speed and flying over the top of the train, and I'm going to start descending over the top of the train to attempt a landing. My first landing land a smooth landing, but I immediately take off again because I find out that the train is actually moving a bit too fast here. The train is moving so fast, and you can see there I tried landing again, and I tried putting the brakes on, but the brakes caused the nose to immediately lift up and the plane took off again. And the reason is because I'm moving the train too fast. You can see I nearly landed on the wrong carriage there. But I'm moving the train too fast, so the plane is unable to not have enough. The plane is unable to have reduced. You know, when it's landed, there's not enough lift for it to fly. At the speed the train is going, there's too much lift, so the plane tries to take off. So here I am attempting another landing, and I try stopping, but I remember the brakes don't work, so I try throttling up and engaging the autopilot to maintain speed. But I realise I forgot to actually set the speed hold, so I just left it at full throttle, and the plane got its nose wheel stuck on the end of the carriage. While technically a landing, it's not quite what I want, so after stopping the train and starting it again, I retracted the gear and lifted off again. Quite a violent takeoff there, with a bit of a tail strike. And immediately I attempt another landing. But then I appear to do a go-around. I think it was this point when I realised the train is moving far too fast, so I turn on the brakes, but I forget to throttle down the train. The other thing is, I noticed that the brakes of the train were far too strong. The brakes resulted in the train slowing down too quickly, meaning I couldn't keep up with the train, and in the process of doing so and trying to release the brakes again, I accidentally crashed the plane. That was a little bit of a close one, as the plane could have crashed and left debris on the track to derail the train, but the train was fine. So that attempt didn't go very well. So it's a new Kerbal day. I have spawned in a new plane, and I'm going to try this again. So I'm starting the train up again. I'm giving it a bit of a head start, so that I can take off and come up from behind. And this time I'm making the train move at a slower speed, this time 40 meters per second, which is basically the stall speed of the plane. The plane can fly at 40 meters per second, but it's on the edge of stalling at that speed. And at that speed, the wings should not produce enough lift at a neutral angle of attack, such as when it's landed on the roof of a train. So here I am catching up with the train for, I think, my first attempt at landing. Oh no, this is just me catching up with the train and flying past it, because once again, I just wanted to fly past the train. Here's my actual first attempt of the second attempt, if that makes any sense. First attempt with the second plane. We have a smooth touchdown, but I run off the end of the carriage again, resulting in the nose gear getting caught on the end of the carriage again. So I try retracting the nose wheel to see if the plane would fall back onto the carriage, but that doesn't seem to work. So I extend the gear again, I extend the nose wheel again, and I try using elevators to lift it up, but that didn't work, so I just used the good old method of extending all of the wheels, and the plane porpoised down the train, nearly crashing into it and exploding, and then it stalled itself into the ground. So yeah, that didn't end very well, that attempt, did it? Luckily the plane and train both survived, so I can try this again. So here we go for attempt 2. So you can see I'm just coming out of an S-turn because I needed to be behind the train. So here I am approaching the train and touchdown, but I immediately fail the landing and overrun, and I land on top of the wrong carriage. The plane immediately falls off of the carriage because of the rounded roof of the carriage. Luckily, because of the speed, I was immediately able to regain flight again, and I quickly turned back towards the train to attempt my third attempt with the second plane. So here we come, just catching up with the train. Let's see how successful this attempt is going to be. So here I am about to touch down on the roof of the train, and we have a successful landing on the roof of the train. Now, I wasn't actually expecting to be able to do this. I was expecting some physics glitches or krakens to attack when the wheels touched down. I wasn't expecting the wheels to be so stable on the roof of the train. Nor was I expecting the brakes to actually be able to pull the plane along. I thought the wheels would just have like no friction on the roof at all. I was also expecting the thing that happened in Swiss 001's video, where the rudder sort of caused the plane to yaw off the side of the train. But that didn't happen either. And I was also expecting the train to derail due to the force of the plane landing on it. But I guess with the plane only weighing about 11 tons and the train individual carriages on the train weighing more than 50 tons, I guess that weight difference is enough to prevent the train from being derailed. So here I am taking off from the train with a very successful takeoff. Here I am breaking off of formation with the train, which is a very strange sentence saying that I'm in formation with a train, but I basically am. And as I've had a successful attempt, I will now land the plane on the ground. Now, I struggled to land the plane with a smooth landing because Physics Range Extender has this weird bug where the terrain and where the camera gets really big and clips through everything. And then I switched to the train and stopped the train as well. Anyway, with the successful landing done, that means we have reached the end of the video. So if you didn't enjoy this video, remember to dislike and unsubscribe, and maybe you won't watch the next video.